Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another amazing episode of People Helping People. And I just want to take a moment and give all the thanks to everybody that's been tuning in, everybody that's been sharing out the podcast. This is a live show, and we've all been experiencing new things together, learning as we go, and we're becoming better and better with every single day, every single podcast that we're shooting. We've had 4 podcasts this week, and everything from, business owners to musicians, and it's been such an eye-opening experience, and to be able to experience these things with you guys on my side, you guys out there watching and interacting with us, we really, really appreciate you guys. But you know what? Today we have a very, very special show. We have a special guest in today, and if you can't see this background right here, we're a in a wonderland of mushrooms and fairies and all kinds of things, because we're going to be tapping into something a little bit different. And I think for some people, this may be a controversial episode. And that's what I love. I want to spark conversation. I want to spark question. And, when certain people have a path that they have in life that where they found enlightenment and purpose and love, and they want to pass those things on. I think there's only one person in the world that I know that I hold near and dear in my heart. And she is just as much my really close friend as she is my sister. And that's because my ma is a twin, and my cousin is my mom's or my aunt's daughter. So there's some genes that are there that make us she is just as much my sister as my actual sister. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am here to introduce to you a jack of all trades, somebody who wears many hats and has experienced a ton of life and is here to spread some knowledge, share some wisdom with us. And I am really excited for this episode. So let's give a warm welcome to Aphyna Zoe. Welcome in, cuz.
Oh, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so amazed with what you've been doing with your show. And you just have such a beautiful voice for this kind of work.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got a face for radio, so people can listen to this with their phone face down and
Yeah.
hopefully get something out of it. Well, I just want to say I love you. I miss you. You're up in Oregon, and I am so happy to have a conversation with you about your life endeavors and the things that you've been through, and the different hats that you've worn over the years, and you're here to share a lot with us. And so for the people who don't know, can you take a moment and just introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Aphyna Zoe, and I like to refer to myself as a mama on a mission to help people reconnect with the beauty and the wisdom of their hearts to create a life that sings with beauty, inspiration, creativity, and love.
Gosh.
And what that actually means
Break it down.
is that I am a legal licensed facilitator for psilocybin assisted therapy up in Oregon.
Wow. That is a mouthful. Break that down.
I know. I really wish I had a better name.
Yeah. Well, you can create something right now. Let's give the people listening a little bit of a breakdown of what that means.
Sure. So I know a couple of states now they've been on the pathway for legalizing this this therapy, this medicine. Oregon was the first. So I feel really, really blessed to be a part of this unfolding and to have found this pathway, because first I sat with psilocybin. I sat in a group of women, and we had 2 guides, and it was truly life-changing for me. It was There was a before Aphyna and an after Aphyna. That was a point in my life where everything changed. And so, because of my own personal experience with it and how profound and helpful and um, applicable to my life it was, to my everyday life, it just transformed things.
Mm.
I I had all these other skills that just lended so perfectly to this and to helping other people access this therapy.
Mm. Yeah, that's amazing. So you had an experience yourself,
Mhm.
and to just give a little bit of backstory, and you can dive in at any moment that you'd like.
Mhm.
You have again worn many hats in so many different aspects of life. You've been a dancer, an
Mhm.
incredible accredited dancer too, not just somebody who goes out and bebops around on the weekends. Like you have danced in some amazing things, and you took your passion and experience into teaching and coaching dance, and you've traveled the world and experienced different cultures and lifestyles, and can you give me a little bit of backstory on where you first tried psilocybin or magic mushrooms, as some
Mhm.
people may or may not know them to be called?
Oh, I just have to laugh really quickly at Jeremiah's comment.
What do you say? Love a good bebopping. Yes, sir. Jeremiah, we see you out there.
Oh, so
We're
funny.
gonna pin you up here.
So, I had my first journey with psilocybin about 3 years ago, so it was actually before there was even a legal pathway to it. It was underground, and there are some really incredible guides out there working with this, and I mean, it's there is something to be said about just the hilarity of outlawing something that grows in your backyard, outlawing a piece of nature.
Yeah.
Um, but I sat in a group with 12 women and 2 guides, and it's an inward journey, and as we're trained as to do this therapy, we lead our clients on an inward journey. So it's something you take the mushrooms, you have a very clear intention, you do some preparation beforehand, cleaning the body, cleaning the mind, cutting out news and TV and all the things that get in our psyche that really impact our experience in this life, our and so you do some clearing beforehand, and then
How
you
long
consume. Yeah,
Yeah, how long does that cleanse take for somebody that's gonna be embarking on something like this?
yeah.
What does a cleanse look like as far as the duration, and is it, of everything? Social media, phones, all
I'm
screens?
Well, the nice thing about psilocybin therapy is that you can fit it into your life. So if you need to use a phone, you can still use your phone, but you're trying to be intentional. You're trying to almost make an offering to to spirit, to the universe, to God. You're ready for change. And so you're signaling to the universe that you're ready for change by making those subtle changes in your life. So with my clients, I tried to do a minimum of a 2-week preparation.
Mm,
So cutting out the social media, the scrolling, the scary movies, the news, all of that for about 2 weeks, and to really sit with the discomfort that comes up when we're not doing those things we're used to doing when we're bored, and just to be friends with that discomfort and to start to really tap into the intention. Why are you seeking out this therapy? And so when you are ready to do the therapy, it's an inward journey. You lay down, you put on an eye covering, you have a guide, a facilitator there to help you, to take care of you, to make sure all your needs are met, to keep you safe. And then you go within. And what comes up for everyone is so drastically different.
wow. Okay, so you have 2 weeks of preparation prior, and within those 2 now let me back up a little bit, because
Mhm.
You say that you want to go in with intention. Now, there's points of contention in everybody's life and their mindset and struggles that we all go through. Do you say or want to facilitate a specific outcome from taking these things? Like maybe it's not that you want to, make a bunch of money or
Mhm.
or do this. It's a little bit deeper than that. So when you're guiding somebody to find that intention prior to coming in for a
Mhm.
psilocybin trip or a magic mushroom trip that's guided by somebody like you,
Mhm.
what how are you constructing that to the patients that you have?
It comes from the heart, so I do some work with my clients and getting them to really tap into their heart.
Mm,
What and I offer sound bath meditation to help us kinda get out of the brain and come into the heart, connect with the body, and to find that intention from there. And it can be anything. Some people are struggling financially, and that's what they need to work through. But reframing it so it's not about, um you wanna reframe it instead of, "I don't wanna struggle with money anymore." You
mm,
wanna reframe it into, "I am ready for abundance. I
ah,
am ready to clear a way
mm,
to create a flow, a pathway of abundance in my life."
I like
Or if
that.
it's depression, we don't want an intention that's, "I wanna get out of depression." The intention is, "I want joy. I
Yeah.
wanna experience joy, and I want to feel connected to my life again and excited and inspired again."
Wow. Yeah, that's profound. And what have you found that not only well, yeah, let's talk about you for a moment. So
Mhm.
when you went there, is it kind of a sacred thing to talk about your intention and how you broke through, or is that something that
Mhm.
you'd like to share?
Yeah, I'd be happy to share. So for me, I was a professional dancer before COVID, and my whole life was centered around that. Even though I have always been drawn to the healing arts and wanted to step into a role as a healer, at the time when COVID happened, my life was really centered around performance art. And so when all of that went away, I went into a really deep depression. The rehearsals, the shows, everything gone overnight. And it was a very difficult time for me, and I've always struggled with depression throughout my whole life. And so it was not an unfamiliar place, but it was much harder to get out of it when you're stuck at home and the world is really uncertain. And then I ended up having a unexpected pregnancy. I have a beautiful daughter now, but in those in those early years with her, I was really, really struggling, and I was just had very little vitality and energy for my life, even though my daughter brought me so much joy. Like getting her ready and getting out of the house and getting her into a stroller and all those things like that was so difficult for me because I did not have the energy and the vitality because of the depression, because of such a deep depression I was in.
Wow.
And so when I went into that first journey, I was actually in such a, I would say, emotionally and um, dark place. And I was a little bit afraid of my journey because I know that, mindset is important in coming into these experiences.
Mhm.
But what I learned from it, it was so transformational. It literally was like the depression was taken out of my body completely,
Wow.
like completely just taken out of my body.
Ah,
And I felt reborn. It was a complete rediscovery of my essence, my nature, which is inspired and excited and creative and positive, and she was back like that. And what I learned too in that experience is mindset is important, but you don't have to be in a good place to do this therapy because often we're not in a good place when we need this therapy. But
mm,
what does matter is having a pure intention.
mm.
And so I did. I had such a pure intention to surrender to whatever it was that I needed to surrender to face whatever I needed to face so that I could experience joy again and
Wow.
a return to myself. And that was exactly what I got. And I started singing. Like, I've never been someone just that sings in the shower or sings in the car. I could not stop singing. And that was 3.5 years ago. And I sing all the time.
Beautiful.
Oh,
You,
it,
yeah.
it really does. And I've seen this with my clients. It can open up just these beautiful expressions in themselves they didn't even know they had. And it's and we have so much programming that we take on throughout our life, and people are really struggling, going through really, really hard things, and carry a lot of anxiety and pain, and there's just so much that covers up our true nature and our true expression. And this therapy can really help you break through that, like have true breakthroughs,
Mm,
and to let go and to heal. It's not about bypassing. The journeys can be very difficult. They can take you into some really, really hard things,
mm.
but you come out with a breakthrough. And that looks different for everyone.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's very profound, and I'm so grateful that this is, on the forefront to being accessible to hopefully everyone who needs it in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. What a story, though, to be feeling throughout your whole life that maybe you were held back by depression and not having energy to be able to do the things that you need to do in your daily life. And I feel like that's such a common thread throughout everywhere in the world.
Mhm.
There is a sense of heavy weight that most people bear on the day to day,
Yeah.
and to and we find things to try and mitigate that feeling, whether it be going to the gym or painting or singing or whatever it is that fulfills your heart. And even then, sometimes it's hard to break down those walls. And you discuss something a little bit about, thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Oh, yes. Thank
um
you for asking.
yeah, and I feel like it's tough to be vulnerable sometimes. And I think that it's beautiful that you not only are vulnerable about where you were, but what the psilocybin or magic mushroom, is it okay to call it magic mushroom?
Yeah, they're super magical.
Yeah, okay, good. I got my
Perfect.
magic mushrooms back here. Like, we're
Yeah,
all in.
yeah.
But yeah, the treatment that can give to people that may be experiencing those types of feelings, and like you said, it doesn't necessarily have to be just depression.
Mhm.
And reinvigorating and rewiring. Now, can you tell me a little bit about how this is transforming people, as far as, like, is there a chemical imbalance? Like, why is it that taking something like psilocybin or magic mushrooms, giving people these breakthroughs?
I'm so glad you asked. And there's so much research coming out explaining the scientific side of this. So it is magical, but there is also evidence showing something's going on in the brain. And what's happening is that we have a default mode network
Mm,
that is constantly looping in our brain. So we have different part of our brain that's just always getting lit up, and it has the stories that we carry in our day-to-day life. It has the stories that are often not true, that really can keep us small and keep us, sad and anxious and all of these things. So what happens when you take the mushrooms is the default mode network stops. So that part of your brain that is constantly telling you those same stories every single day pauses. And then your brain actually goes through something called entropy, where random parts of the brain start to light up. And so we
mhm,
actually, through a journey, start creating new neural pathways in the brain that were not there before. And not only is the voice of the ego silenced, we're really connected to our heart, because there is um, a serotonin experience. So we have often can experience bliss in this, in a journey, and something that takes us really into our heart, into our emotions, because the default mode network that suppresses all the emotions is
mhm,
paused. So I think it comes from the heart back up to the brain. and different parts of the brain start lighting up like wildfire.
Wow.
And we start to get new connections, new stories that I have found to be very true with my own experience and with my clients. And so also we have weird parts of the brain that connect that don't normally connect, which is why you might taste sound, or you might see hear color or feel. It's so different. So you have like the occipital cortex starting to connect with the auditory cortex
Wow.
with your visual cortex, and like, so it is magical. It's very, and that's why we have this very profound magical experience that's hard to explain. But what's happening is we actually start to carve out new neural pathways. Different networks in our brain start to connect. And when you come back, it's almost like, the default mode network is the highway that's like very paved, perfectly paved, and cars are constantly, the thought path is constantly going across this highway. And now you've just forged into the forest and you've made a new path in the forest. So the trick coming back is the integration, is that you continue to pave out those new pathways and you don't go back to the old thought patterns. And that takes work.
Yes. Wow. That's incredible. So essentially, you're paving new roads that they've been there for years. Your belief system essentially becomes your truth. And these roads get drove down and beaten down and bruised and tattered. And just like Tucson, we are the pothole city. These roads need repaving. Tucson needs a psilocybin retreat. and, and so you ingest the magic mushrooms. And how big is the dose that you take?
It's high. It's
Is it?
called the hero's dose. The
Ooh.
therapeutic dose is the hero's dose, which if you're working with in a legal service center, they have a way of measuring out the psilocybin in it. And it's a 25 to 35 milligram dose, but that is different than the weight. So that's like the actual measured psilocybin, the the psychoactive component of the mushroom. But if you're on the street, that can be 3 to 5 grams, sometimes six
Wow.
grams.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a very high dose, and it's. I tell this to my clients. It's kind of like childbirth. Like there's no going back. It's going to happen.
Wow.
And so once you
Yeah.
take that much, you're going to go into it. But
Yeah.
you will come back. You absolutely will come back, and it's so safe.
Yeah.
It's
That's
so safe.
amazing.
You come back, you're fully sober again within hours,
Yeah.
and you've had a epic journey.
That's amazing. Wow. So a hero dose, they call it. You
Mhm.
take a hero dose. And I want to say too, yeah, thank you for sharing that, by the way. I want to say that, I have dabbled with mushrooms over the years, and I have done a hero dose before without
Mhm.
any guidance
Yeah.
whatsoever. And when you speak about things like the ego and the mind taking you to, maybe I didn't take them with intentions, but
Mhm.
to, go dance around and listen to music or whatever it was, this is like my teenage years.
Mhm.
But I went into a very dark place. And so maybe there was something seated deep inside of me, deep rooted, that I hadn't come to terms with. That maybe, yeah, I feel like trauma is a very loosely used word anymore, but a lot of people are suffering from some sort of trauma, emotional, physical, mental. There's damages that are done over the years, and so what I'm hearing is that rewiring of the brain with intention, and that's what you're there to do.
Yeah. And I'm
You're
glad you're mentioning that, because you don't wanna take a hero's dose all by yourself.
no, I'll tell you firsthand.
So, anyone listening, if you've got your own mushrooms, you have some ideas, find someone who can sit with you and
Mhm.
hold space, to really, really hold space and hold a container, and to make you feel held and safe and protected, because that can transform the journey. And bad trips are a real thing.
Yeah.
But I find in the therapeutic setting, even if my clients have what you might describe as a bad trip, there's a breakthrough point. Like they have been able to face something, go into something difficult, but then they can come out and there's a profound healing and reason they were taken there. And it really helps to have someone holding your hand, singing, playing
Mm.
an instrument, whatever it is the person needs to get through a difficult moment in a journey. It's extremely important because you might get stuck there if you don't have,
Mm.
until the journey's over. You might get stuck there and come out without really knowing if that was worth it.
Yeah.
If you don't have that safety, that feeling of safety and that care around
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
guide.
Yeah. And so you being the expert who is guiding somebody through that.
Mhm.
That's beautiful though, because like you said, I felt as though it was a broken record. The maybe it was the thing that I wasn't facing at the time. And I believe it was ego for sure. Like when I
Mhm.
watch old videos of myself, I was just having this discussion with my girlfriend last night. It was like, it makes me cringe to see who I was prior to getting sick and having that ego
Mhm.
death. The world stripped me of my ego. I had no manhood left. I was 120 pounds, lost my house, lost my job, lost everything because of becoming sick. But it gave me a clean slate to be able to start fresh and
Mhm.
build who I knew to be the man I wanted to be. And so I think now would be a good time for me to set intentions, take a hero dose, and then have some guidance. Because,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, because I need guidance.
Yeah,
And
and do some preparation and integration too.
beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to take a quick moment. Thank you so much for sharing that, Afina. I want to take a quick moment and go to the comments. And also say that we are having a record breaking live stream for our show right now. We are getting
What?
more and more people in every single day. They're interacting with us, they're showing us love, they're asking questions. And I just want to show a little bit of love. Let's go ahead and read off some comments here. Mr. Manifest, I see you. I have your comment up on the screen. He says, Psilocybin has personally helped me manage many traumatic imprints, from surviving cancer to experience with DV. Holy,
Wow.
hold on just a moment. That's for you, though. What a story. And he's been in the streams with us in the past few days, and we really appreciate you being here with us. And yeah, from surviving cancer, gosh, that is absolutely incredible. That is the power of rewiring your brain and having these things fired differently when you've been running down the same neural pathways for your whole life because of your belief systems and experiences is something that I feel should be intoxicating to the world, because we're all hurting. We all need something at one point or another. And yeah, thank you for that comment, Mr. Manifest. Really do appreciate it. Nick, ARPG, where do you get it from, though? Is it legal? Does the person ingesting need to be observed? Those are all great questions. We did cover that first part. You jumped in a little late, and that's totally fine. But in Oregon, where Aphyna Zoe is at, it is legalized. And how long has it been legal there?
Since 2021, I believe that we
Wow.
voted on it in 2021. I think the program started rolling out in 2022.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
not
there's
long.
Right. Yeah. And there's so much negative connotation towards that. But to hear that there's a beautiful way to use this as a tool is an amazing thing. And a lot of people, you're impacting lives. You're not only just impacting one person's life, but that person takes that home with them and gets to bless everybody around them with the experience.
Absolutely. It truly ripples out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So does the person ingesting, he says, does the person ingesting need to be observed?
Yes, so here in Oregon, you have a facilitator who is with you the entire time, and we do it at a legal service center, so there's other support staff in the building. if it's needed, if the facilitator needs to take a break. So yeah, there's constant supervision here in Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
But I also I should add too, we're not like staring at our client. We're just in the room holding space, but also giving them, the privacy to process whatever they're going through. So, you know, I'm not going to be staring right at someone, making them feel uncomfortable and self-conscious. That's not what's happening. But we are in the space. We are there supervising, and I take some notes for my clients. They might say something. They might have an emotional process at some point, and I'll keep track of timing, all of that stuff that I can share with my clients after.
that's beautiful. Yeah. And we talked a little bit, you touched on the fear that you had going into trying your
Mhm.
first experience.
Mhm.
Can you kind of, let's say that somebody is interested in this, and I would also like to plug how people can get a hold of you. But to finish the question, I want to know, um, if somebody is interested in doing something like this, whether they fly into Oregon and ask for your guidance, or they're already in Oregon,
Mhm.
what would you say if somebody says that they're fearful of this? How can they break through that? How
Mm.
can they overcome the fear and understand that it's going to be okay?
Yeah. Well, first off, it's okay to be afraid. It's completely normal. And I'm afraid every time that I work with the mushrooms still. And that you're safe. You're completely safe. You will come back. You are called to this for a reason, and just listen and trust. And change is scary. You're going to change.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would like to know where people can reach you. So I can just plug that while we continue to talk here. If somebody wanted to reach out, if they
Mhm.
wanted to book a psilocybin guided journey with you, where
Mhm.
would they go?
You can go to my website, and that is cosmicsong.love. And you're able to book a free discovery call with me from there. So that's the best way to reach me.
Beautiful. I'm just typing that in the chat right now. And as you know, this is a live show, so we just kind of run as we
Yeah.
go, and we interact with the people. Thanks again for everybody that's joining us. People Helping People live show. We're here with Aphyna Zoe. She is a psilocybin guided coach. Did I say that correct? Is that-
Close enough.
Okay.
A facilitator for psilocybin assisted therapy.
There you go. A facilitator for psilocybin assisted therapy.
Mhm.
And I'm just typing into the comments here so I can put it up on the screen. It's cosmicsong.love to book a free discovery consultation. Consultation. I'm glad I got my glasses. This is great. Okay, beautiful. Let's put that up on the screen for everybody to see. And there we go. So if you would like to reach out and see if this is something that could help you, because is it for everybody, or are there certain cases when somebody is discussing something with you and you're like, you know what, maybe this isn't right, maybe they're on medications, or
Mhm.
is there anybody that's not fit for psilocybin guidance?
Yeah. There are very few contraindications. There are some, though. And with a trained facilitator, many of those things can be safely navigated. There is some medications in particular that will change the protocol, and some that will disqualify you,
Mm.
um, but not many, like very, very few. And there are other facilitators too that work with certain mental health challenges that you may be better suited with. So, for instance, if anyone reaches out to me um, with borderline personality disorder, there is a specific person that I always refer them to who works primarily with that, helping people break through that.
Oh, beautiful.
And so
Okay.
that's actually one thing that has been listed as a potential yellow flag that it, but I think with the right facilitator, and I think that you can actually really find some healing with that. So it's pretty incredible.
No,
It
that's
really,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah. It's not a one size fits all as far
No.
as the facilitator is concerned.
Mhm.
There's a certain group of people that you enjoy working with and that can benefit from being under your umbrella.
Yeah,
Otherwise, they have XYZ going on in their life, and you know somebody that you can refer them to. So you're going to make sure, no matter what, that anybody that does come in contact with you, that they're going to have the best experience possible and reach new enlightenment.
absolutely. Absolutely. And also I tell people, especially I tend to work with women more. That is my passion. But so I tell the women I'm working with, especially the mothers, it's like searching for your doula or your midwife, the person that you are going to feel absolutely safe and comfortable with no matter what comes out of you. And
Mm,
so anyone who books a call with me, we have to make sure that they feel that way towards me. And it's totally fine if they don't. If a man would like another male facilitator, for instance. And so that's one example, but it can be anything. It really is about picking that person who's going to hold you while you may likely have a rebirth experience.
amazing. Yeah, I love it. Well, I really need to come do this
Yeah.
and tell me, like, so let's say I come in, I'm ready to take this on. We've had a conversation. You say, you know what? You're going to be a great candidate under my wing. And so 2 weeks prior, or is it within the conversation that we kind of boil down what things I want to work through? Or is it something that happens within those first 2 weeks of the detox? Or how does that work?
Yeah. So if you were to book a discovery call with me, I'd have a few questions for you, do a little screening and also just to build some rapport to make sure this feels like a really good fit and that you feel really comfortable with me. That's the number one.
Mhm.
And then we would move, if we chose to move forward, I do two preparation sessions before the journey. So the first preparation session is really, it's more intellectual. It's answering any questions. It's talking about the whole process from start to finish, all the little details. So you really know what to expect. The second preparation call is more about getting into the heart. So I'll have asked you to already start doing some homework and to start to feel into your intention. But then in that second preparation call, I will do a guided sound bath meditation and I will, because the the vibrations from sound healing instruments can really entrain our brain into a state of meditation so that our thoughts can quiet and we can listen and we can be more connected with the body and the heart, the spirit. So from there, I'm really trying to prepare my clients, prepare their spirit, their
Mhm.
heart, and to really take them into that intention more deeply. And there is some homework over this time. Um, there's homework of getting out and connecting with nature and cutting out certain things, protecting the psyche, clearing the psyche, also clearing the body and changing the diet. And really, what you put into this experience is what you're going to get out of it. So if you come into it with a lot of intention and you have started to actually implement some changes in your life, you really are going to receive everything you give to the
Wow.
experience. And then we'll do the journey, and it's a full day thing. We start in the morning, and you're done often by dinner time. And then I do an integration session with my clients to help make sense, to make meaning of what came through, and then also to make some actionable steps and pathways forward so that you can really start to, you know, keep those new neural pathways, the rewiring to really keep it going, to strengthen
Mhm.
it.
Yeah. Wow. That's beautiful. So you say that it is a full day. So in the morning, you wake up, this moment has arrived. Are you in a facility or where are you facilitating this?
So there's lots of service centers in Oregon. So just depending on the day and the time, what's available, we would choose a service center together. Some are closer to nature, some are literally in the center of the city. But so far, all of the ones I visited are really lovely, beautiful places. And so, yeah, I would show up about an hour early to prep the space, and I beautify, I bring in flowers, and I make it really feel like a sacred ceremony. And
Yeah.
so when you enter, you are entering into a sacred place where you can really
Mm,
let go and heal.
that's
And then at the end of the day, it just depends. Everyone's different. Some clients feel like they're done in 3 hours, and others take 8, 9 hours. And so I'm basically available to be there as long that is needed. And
wow.
then I will bring some back to earth food when they're feeling ready and feeling ready to ground down and kind of come back. And they'll get to eat some food, which helps us come back.
Yeah.
And
So it's not a Big Mac and a large fry.
no, 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 definitely not.
Yeah.
And then, although some people have a like made, I always have a huge appetite after
Hmm.
a journey, and
Yeah.
some people don't want to eat at all. So it's just different for everyone. But
Yeah. Wow.
um, and
That's
then
really
we make sure also our clients get home safely. So that's all planned out too.
beautiful. So
So
it's a full day experience. Expect a
mhm,
full day
yeah,
experience, nose to tail, A to Z. You're 100% taken care of.
yeah,
And you do consultations to make sure that the right fit for you and that you're the right fit for them. So there's a little bit of back and forth. And then they leave. Is there follow up with people? Do you have people reaching back out to you, or how does that
yeah.
work?
Yeah, so the way I do it is we have a integration session scheduled within 2 days. And, I'll send a text message or an email just to check in like later that night or the next day. And then I always have a follow-up email a month later to check in because together with my client into the integration session, we kind of make an action plan. So I check in a month to kind of hold them accountable a little bit to some of the things that they determined for themselves they wanted to make happen over those next 30 days.
Wow. Yeah, so you're building lifelong friends.
Oh yeah, big
I
time.
can't even imagine. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. And I have
Beautiful.
seen such incredible breakthroughs, and I've heard such incredible stories from my clients that I feel so unbelievably blessed to get to
Yeah.
do this work and to witness transformation. Like,
Is there one in particular that stands out that I mean, obviously, we don't wanna give out names or anything, but is there a breakthrough in particular that you can share with us?
yes, I did have one client, and I know she's okay with me sharing this story, and she's also shared it publicly on a podcast, and so I know that's okay. But I would say her journey was, for me at least, to hold space for and witness. It was just so big and so profound, and it was maybe the hardest journey too to facilitate, but it was perfect, and I did not have any issues with it being hard. Like, that is a part of the work, and it's beautiful.
Mhm,
But she had, a bad trip, quote unquote, I'm doing quotation marks, a bad trip for the beginning. And she had actually a very difficult, very, very scary time and was seeing lots of fearful, scary imagery. And she had a lot of anxiety coming up to the surface. And it got to the point where, and it just wasn't what she wanted. And that's a part of it, is like we have to really surrender to whatever arises. I know we all want to come in and have this like blissful, like the imagery behind you kind of experience.
mhm.
And that's not always what we need. And so she really struggled, and it got to the point where she got extremely angry. And she was angry at the experience, and that was totally okay. But once she started vocalizing it, I could feel it. It felt like, okay, this is so important. This is so big. And I encouraged her to really just let everything come out that needed to come out. And so she had, a processing of anger and was screaming and kicking and flailing for 30 minutes straight.
Wow.
And then she had a profound breakthrough. And the rest of the journey, she was laughing for 2 hours. And it was like the laughter of a toddler, that just pure, just uninhibited, just lovely, just beautiful. It was so beautiful. And that was for 2 hours straight, this laughter and play. And she was like flailing around the bed and playing and like she was a little kid again.
Wow.
And it was so beautiful. And to her, she recognized in that experience that so basically she had all this repressed anger. And underneath the anger was the joy. And so she had to let the anger and come out, and she had to scream and kick and to literally get it out of her body so that she could experience the pure joy, that childlike joy that she felt like she didn't have as a child. And she told me that it was like the laughter healed every cell of her body. She could feel it move through every cell of her body. And so and since then in the unfolding, she's just had a really beautiful breakthrough in her feeling her self-expression and allowing herself to take up space and to, dance and be playful. And it's been really beautiful to witness that. Like so, so beautiful.
Yeah. What a fulfilling endeavor. What a fulfilling moment to go through with somebody and see the transformation of them diving into something that is dark. And I feel as though maybe in those moments it's uncontrollable for that person. And to have you there to guide them through, to let them know that it's going to be okay,
Mhm.
and to see the script flip for them and the light bulb go off. Whew.
Mhm.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Looks like Victoria Ward's in tears as well. I'm a
Oh, and I just
class.
wanna celebrate her, like, truly celebrate her and the work she did, because it's work. It's not sometimes it can be a joyride. Sometimes that's exactly what someone needs, and that is what shows up for them. And, like, our intellectual brain doesn't get to make that decision. It's like it's the inner healing intelligence that makes the decision of what we need. And then our job, the brain's job, is just to surrender and allow and but everyone who goes into this, I mean, it's work, and I celebrate every single person who it's a courageous thing.
Really, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing that story. And I hope that anybody listening will consider trying something like this if you feel stuck, if you feel as though the same negative thought patterns have been running and coursing through your body, if maybe you have trauma of any kind that has hindered you from being able to move forward in life. To have something like this that is not only legal and accessible in the United States, but with somebody who can give you the right guidance to make sure that it's facilitated properly and that you're in a safe place and that you find that meaning, because the work starts way before you even step into the actual moment where you're taking the mushrooms. And I hope that people, because this is a very controversial topic, and I hope that people are taking into consideration the fact that this stuff has been used for so many years. And maybe you can kind of give me a little bit of backstory, a little history of how this has been used and who has used it, and just give me a little bit of history of psilocybin and what you've learned. And luckily it's on the forefront now and we're able to utilize it. But yeah, if you could run me through that, that'd be great.
Well, what's incredible about psilocybin is they have found mushrooms on nearly every continent with the psilocybes cubensi from this family of mushrooms that has this quality, this ability to take us into these therapeutic healing states. So they're sprinkled all over the world.
Mm.
And I'm we don't we don't really know exactly the history of them and all of the different cultures who have used them, but there is evidence that they have been used.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have been used for sacred work for a very long time in many different parts of the world. And we have a lot of information about Maria Sabina from Oaxaca, Mexico. She was the bridge that brought at least the knowledge of this medicine to the West. And maybe I'm sure it was there before, with indigenous peoples. We don't quite know, but it was reintroduced into the West in, I think it was the 50s,
Mm-hmm.
50s. And so she actually, in her tribe, she used it as a physical healing medicine. And she was surprised by these Western people who were coming to find God. So the people coming to her were trying to use the medicine to have a spiritual experience. And
Wow.
so we don't even know like the capacity of what these mushrooms can do for our physical healing.
Mm.
And, I don't have experience as a facilitator working in that field of physical healing, but I do know of stories. My teacher, she healed a traumatic brain injury with mushrooms. And my mentor's mentor, she healed cancer, stage
Wow.
4 cancer with mushrooms and fasting. So I've heard stories
Yeah.
of this. So, we're kind of at the very beginning of figuring out what the potential is with these beautiful medicines that are sprinkled all over the world, literally.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And I am so honored to not only have you on the show, because you're right. Like this is the beginning phases. I mean, it was only legalized a few years ago. There's only a few people in the world who are actually facilitating this. It is a very niche thing for people to embark on a journey like this. And I really just appreciate you coming in and sharing the knowledge. And for anybody that may be a little skeptical, hopefully this gives you a little bit more insight. Hopefully this gives you, some knowledge that you can sit on and think about. If there's something, again, if there's something that you want to push through, if there's something that you, or even somebody that you may know. I know that a lot of people with PTSD from really traumatic things that happen in their lives have embarked on these journeys, and they've come out a completely different person because of rewiring those neural pathways. And I just want to thank you so much for coming on. And as we're doing this, there's a bunch of amazing comments. Thank you guys for joining us again. People Helping People Live, and we are here with Aphyna Zoe, and we have a couple of questions here. So let's go ahead and dive in. Nick ARPG says, "What may have caused the bad trip? Something happening to her recently that was traumatic?"
So she didn't have an association, like a particular association or a memory to what the anger was. Um, and maybe in time that she's had to reflect, maybe something has revealed itself to her that I don't know of. But I think it was something for her. I think it was really a lifetime of kind of self repression, and that got stuck in her body, and it turned into anger and needed to come out. And that's how it revealed itself to her, through scary images
Mm.
and kind of an experience that she didn't want. And that kind of like, it almost pushed her to get angry, because she needed to get angry to let that out.
Yeah, to have that breakthrough, she had to go through the emotions that were being repressed for so long. And to hear what you said with that testimony of her just laughing with like
Mhm.
toddler like glee,
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
really amazing. Thank you
Yeah.
for that question, Nick
Yeah. And
ARPG.
and I wanna say too that she doesn't describe it as a bad trip.
Oh, beautiful.
She describes it as, big time healing.
Yeah,
So
that is really incredible. Thank you again, Nick A. RPG, for the question. We appreciate you guys being interactive with us here tonight. And again, this is a record-breaking night for People Helping People. We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to share knowledge, wisdom, love, whatever it is. We're here to cross-pollinate information. So, Mr. Manifest says, does she work with a specific strain, like with Golden Teacher or Amanita? Great question.
yeah, good question. So the way it works in Oregon, depending on which service center you work with, they have a relationship with a legal grower. And so they'll have a menu basically that you choose from. So everyone's different, but I always choose Golden Teacher if that's available. If that's not available, I choose Mazatepec. And those two are typically available. So that's what I give to my clients if that's an option. But there's a lot of different strains that you can work with in Portland legally.
Great question, Mr. Manifest. Thank you for jumping in and being interactive in the chat. We appreciate it. Anybody that's here right now as well, go ahead and hit that like button and those hearts up there. It helps just get us out there. We do this for free. We sit here and try to bring you as much love and wisdom and knowledge as we can. So just go ahead and tap that for us. We appreciate it. All right, Jake Davis. He says he would book he said I would book if I was in the Portland area. Is there constraints to, it'd have to be facilitated in Oregon, right? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So, if someone was to work with me, I do have some clients that come from out of town to work in Oregon to do it legally, to work with me. But I also know that there are guides all over the place. It kind of depends on what you need. If you need it to be this legal process, which is great and can feel very safe. But there really are guides everywhere. And I don't know about where you're from, but in areas where it's decriminalized, there's kind of there's a way to do it. So if it's decriminalized, you can actually hire someone called a sitter. And it's actually, no one's going to get in trouble. So the sitter is not the one providing the mushroom. And if it's decriminalized, you're probably not going to get in trouble for having it. And you can hire someone to come be a psychedelic sitter.
Oh, wow.
And they're not providing it. So they're actually totally in the clear. They're not going to get in any trouble because they're basically just coming and showing up to make sure you're going to be safe.
Wow. And is that something that you do as well?
Yes. Yeah, I do offer that as well. And so some people go that route in Oregon because it makes it much more cost effective.
Right.
And right now it's decriminalized. That might not always be the case though. So, it's really, you might be taking a bit of a risk.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. And thank you for asking all those questions. Thank you to everybody that's been joining our live stream. This has been incredibly eye-opening. And again, I think the purpose of talking about these types of topics is just letting the people know that, there are alternatives. There are different routes to find healing in life, and the world gives us everything that we need. It's accessible. And, Aphyna, cuz I love you and I appreciate you being on the show. This has been amazing. I want to ask you before we go, because we're already coming up on an hour. It's flew by. Yeah. I'd like to ask you if there's anything else you'd like to discuss. Is there something that you're working on? Is there any new endeavors? Is that maybe words of wisdom you'd like to leave with the people? Give us a little something.
Definitely. Well, I am offering a weekend women's retreat coming up October 3rd through the 5th. And so it's going to be a guided group journey we're going to take a very small group of women. We have a few spots left. We have 3 facilitators. It's going to be at a beautiful river retreat. And if that speaks to anyone, if you know someone in your life who could really benefit from that, you can send them my way. So my first experience was sitting in a group, and it was truly beautiful, and I'm really excited to offer this to everyone.
That's amazing. And you said that that's October. What was the date on that again?
That's October 3rd through the 5th of the
Beautiful.
end of this year. Mhm.
Very nice. Well, again, thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And I feel like there's so many different things that you've done in your life. And this is one of many times of having you on the show. That's the beauty of this is like, I want my family, friends, people around me to come on and give me updates on what's going on. You know, tell me what you're doing, what you're working on, and then we can touch back. We can double back and see how things are going. And you have this retreat coming up, so I would love to have you back on the show. And again, there's so many different avenues we can discuss because you do sound healing or sound baths. Yeah, maybe you could run me through some of your some of you're the queen of healing people. And so, what are some of the avenues?
No, I'm just a helper.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
We
truly
feel
believe we all do our own healing.
yeah,
And I'm just very called to create the space for that healing to happen.
beautiful.
And I really truly believe it's a remembering of the fact that we're already whole. That's what healing is.
Mm,
And so yes, the sound baths that actually came through my plant medicine work. It was a call that I received to learn how to use the sound bowls, and I've just done one instrument at a time, and it's kind of now I have a lot of sound healing instruments and I facilitate group sound baths or private sound baths for my psilocybin clients. And then through working with the mushrooms, it's opened up my voice. So I use voice, and these tools are so helpful, especially. So I highly recommend sound baths to anyone who struggles with meditation because I've always been that person. My mind just it takes a long time to like calm it, to turn it off, and to come into like that meditative state. Whereas a sound bath, it just happens very quickly because you have these beautiful instruments that are emitting these vibrations, and your brain waves entrain to the sound waves of the instrument. And so the instrument actually helps bring the brain waves into a state of meditation.
mm,
And that's where we heal, is when we're in the parasympathetic nervous system, when we're in rest and peace, and we can turn off the brain and all the anxiety producing thoughts. And so highly recommend sound baths to anyone who wants to get into that healing state, that meditative state, but doesn't have all the time to train yourself how to meditate. It's very beautiful. So
yes, and thank you for sharing because I have done your
oh
sound bath before, and it was so shocking to me what came out of me, like how I was feeling afterwards. It was I felt as though I leveled up. Like the vibration that I was putting off into the world was it was heightened, and I felt a sense of calm. For me, like you had said, the hardest thing is just turn off my mind, just shut it down, just take a second, and I try and do different breathing techniques and things to do that for myself. But the sound bath was almost immediate. You started playing the bowls and you were singing on top of it, and you got an amazing singing voice, which I didn't even know about. And
I
you're
never sang before.
I know, and it was amazing, and I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how I felt after, and that I went in as a skeptic, you know, and I think most people do with those types of things, unless they're already involved with them. But at one point or another, trying something like that is good for the soul. It's good for the emotional state of mind, and well, it's good for everything.
Oh,
So,
beautiful. I'm so happy you had that experience.
oh, it was so good. And I can't wait to see you. I'm ready to do that hero dose and I'm ready to be guided through some things, you know. I'm ready to
Beautiful.
yeah, I'm ready to be enlightened in a new way since
Mhm.
I've had that situation in my life and got to rebuild myself as an individual. And I think it's time. It's time. I'm in a good
Mhm.
place, and
Good.
happier than I've ever been. So it'd be nice to see what heights we can reach.
Right. Beautiful. I'm sure it will be a very different experience than your other one, doing it alone.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Well, Aphyna Zoe, again, tell the people where they can reach you, and yeah, we'll end the show. I appreciate you coming on. It's been really insightful.
Oh, thank you for the invitation. And yeah, reach out through cosmicsong.love.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
thank
Ladies and
you.
gentlemen, thank you for joining us. Again, so many people jumped into the stream. This has been People Helping People Live, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Deuces.